We were really looking to do something different for our annual report.
To me, it's like the powder room of the house, right? You can kind
Yeah.
of like go a little bit more out there, and it's a little bit more isolated. You can do something crazy on the walls and the tile.
How many people are visiting the airport, and B, how long they are spending on there reading the information.
Sending ChatGPT some prompts to ask a question. Thank you for joining me. So you're the first guest. I'm calling this the video series, How to Avoid the Annual Crisis. And the annual crisis obviously is the annual report, and the fun, the excitement, and the pain and everything that goes along with it. So obviously you're here to join me. Maybe you want to give me a quick 1 to 2 minute kind of background on who you are, your background experience, and we can go from there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Mayville, and I'm the Senior Communications Manager at Wood Green Community Services in Toronto. Wood Green is one of the largest social services agencies in the city, and we support over 37,000 Toronto residents every year with a variety of different programs and services, including affordable housing, childcare, seniors programs, youth programs, and mental health and wellness programs. And why we reached out to Patrick last year, or 2 years ago, I guess, for our annual report, was that we were really looking to do something different for our annual report. We felt like our annual report was kind of stale in terms of the look and feel. And we have such amazing stories at Wood Green about the work that we do. And we really want to showcase that in a really interactive and visual way. So that is one of the reasons that we reached out to Patrick. And then also in this new age of technology, we felt like we didn't need like a version, like a hard copy version of our annual report. We really felt like we could do 100% digital in order, well, as a charity, to save some money on printing costs and be kinder to the environment, but also we just felt like it would be more impactful to do it in a web format.
And what about your background in terms of, like, obviously you're at Wood Green, but like where does Jen kind of come in, through the nonprofit communication side? Like how did that evolve?
Yeah, so I've been working in the media and communications field for a really long time. So my background is journalism. So I started my career as a journalist. And then I moved over into the nonprofit sector. So during my course of my career, I've held roles at the Canadian Red Cross, and I worked many years at Environmental Defence Canada, and now I'm working at Wood Green.
So you should be interviewing me then, is what you're saying, if you're a journalist by trade.
Yes, I should be.
So when it comes to annual reports, so like what was that, like, the big catalyst, other than like going digital? Was it like the pandemic kind of had you thinking differently about how you were going to make the shift from PDF to digital, or was it always kind of the plan, and then someday you just woke up and someone decided this year we're going digital? Like how did that come about?
I would say, well, we revamped our website, and I think we were looking for something that also was new and exciting in terms of our annual report on our website as well. I wouldn't say like the pandemic was the spark to have a digital version, but I think we had really worked hard before we reached out to you, Patrick, on doing a lot of digital content in terms of capturing stories about the great work our clients are doing, or so right now our clients are stuff we're doing, the impact we're having on our clients. And we really wanted to reuse this great content that was all online. And we just thought a great way to do that would be through a digital report. And then we also, we felt that not everyone, would want to read the full report or just want to read parts of it as well. And we like the kind of idea with the digital report, you can easily scroll through or jump to different sections as well, so people could find the areas that they were most interested in.
And how about like the content creation and the process of going digital versus PDF? Did you find that the process was the same? Did it change? And obviously, we've worked with you for two, so the first year versus the second year, like how did things kind of evolve from your communication standpoint in terms of your processes and how you thought about things?
It saved us time in the sense that we were reusing a lot of content that we already had. So some of it was new content that we had to draft, but some of it we were reusing. So, for example, blogs that we'd written on our website. So in that sense, it did save us some time. And I would say that because we worked with you like now for 2 years on your annual report, for the second year, in some ways it was faster because we already had a template for the annual report that we were using, and we understood the format and the process a bit better. So it was, I would say, in that way, faster.
And in terms of like, when you go to start writing it, like who's writing it within the organization, and do you have a process, throughout the year where you're collecting the information and keeping track of it, or is it basically like a blank piece of paper and you're trying to, figure out what happened over the last year and pull together all the data?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we've been working really hard to be capturing the stories of our impact during the whole entire year. So when it comes time to start working on our annual report, and which we're already starting to do now, it actually starts with the communications team and us coming together and thinking about, do we want a certain sort of look and feel for the annual report or a theme? And then we also reach out to the teams, all the programs and services, and ask them like, what were some of your that you think were like the biggest wins for you from the past year, because we might not have known of something. So
where does the CEO come into play? Like do they kind of like give you like a mandate for what they want to see, or does your team kind of come up with it and then you just send it up for review?
I would say it's a collaboration between us and our CEO and president. So the communications team does create an outline of what we think should be included in the annual report, and then we do share it with our CEO for feedback, and then also ask her if there's anything she would like to see, and in particular in her opening message, if there's anything that she really wants us to include in there.
In terms of the opening message, do you tell her like you can only say so much in there, or do you just kind of like like how do you guide that? Because from my experience, we tend to see like really lengthy like text, especially like throughout the whole report. Sometimes there's just like it's very wordy. So how do you kind of manage that?
Yeah, so in creating the annual report overall, we do have word counts for each section, and we do tell senior leadership we only have a certain amount of word count for each area, including the message from the president and CEO. So so in doing so, it is challenging to try to find a way to write something in a shorter like word count, but I think that's really important because online you need to catch people's attention really quickly, and people aren't going to spend a lot of time reading long text. So I think it's really important to have either like a shorter message from the CEO, or something that we might even test doing this year is maybe even a video message from our CEO and president and board president. Like that could be a different way to also have an opening message in your report, a digital version.
No, I like that. And in terms of like obviously you're sending the annual report to the stakeholder, but how are you actually like using it? Like, and from like the analytics of going digital, like what are you seeing in terms of like usage? Like are certain sections being viewed the most? Like kind of like where's the interest? And also in terms of like the marketing comm strategy, do you actually have like a plan for how you're using the annual report, or is it more just for the stakeholders?
So We use our annual report for many different reasons. So we use it to report back to our donors and funders about our work. We also use it in funding applications to try to get new funding. We share it with external partners as well, corporate donors, other donors as well. In terms of marketing and columns, we do share pieces on the annual report on social media. As well, we write a blog kind of summarizing some of the key interesting parts about the annual report as well. So it's a nice kind of like executive summary in a way, in case someone doesn't want to read the whole thing. But we do use it a lot during the whole entire year to share with the various different stakeholders about the incredible impact of our work. And it's a very important, it's not a document because it's online, but it's a very important
resource,
marketing communications piece, a resource for our whole entire organization.
Right. And like, since we've gone digital, have you been tracking like in looking at the analytics of use, or like how does that come into play? Like obviously I'd imagine that the nice thing is you actually know, if people are actually looking at it because you have the analytics, right? Where PDF, you don't necessarily know, like when someone downloads it and starts sharing it, you kind of lose track of that, right?
Yeah, I think that's a really nice thing as well, that, we can see how long people are, how many people are visiting the airport, and B, how long they are spending on there reading the information. With hard copies, you can send them out into the ether and you have no idea if people are even reading them or not. So it's nice to have actually this data that we can use to showcase like how much people are actually interacting with your annual report.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in terms of like your usage, do you see like I imagine like once you release it, you probably send it out quite often. I'm imagining that throughout the year, kind of like if you're sending it to partners, are you using it kind of like in terms of like lead gen, in terms of like soliciting donations? Is it kind of like that here's what we did last year, and then positioning as if you help us this year, this is where the impact will go? Is that kind of how you're leveraging it with your partners?
Yeah, I don't work on the fundraising team, but I do know that our fundraising team does share it to try to build relationships with new donors. But I would also mention that, I didn't mention this before, but also something that's really nice is that with this digital version, you can just send a link, that you don't need to actually physically mail something to someone. Or also, sometimes with attachments, some emails platforms don't like attachments or things like that from external organizations. So this is a way to ensure that people are actually getting the annual report, and then with the data we can see how many people are actually reading it as well.
Oh, cool. And what do you feel is like the biggest challenge in terms of like your annual report process?
I would say the biggest challenge is that we do so many great things at Woodring Community Services. It's really hard to sort of narrow down what can fit in the annual report. So I would say that's the biggest challenge, is that we have so many great stories to choose from. So trying to figure out what's the best fit for the annual report is the biggest challenge.
And how do you decide what gets in, what gets done?
Yeah, I think, it's speaking with the leadership team and figuring out what are the biggest wins we want to share in the annual report. And as well, like what are some of the best stories that we had captured in the past year that we really, really want to share again, and really showcase like the incredible work that our staff are doing every day in the community.
Now, I'd imagine that it's probably a lot of work to pull out like the stats and the quotes like from all this like content you guys have, right? So in terms of that, like I'm assuming, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but basically you would go through, you would kind of like, shortlist the stories that are going in there, then pull out stats and quotes from those, or from, the different programs. And then, you kind of, do a mix of, to get the flow. I'd imagine you kind of, just do a lot of rearranging, to kind of get that flow, so as you're going down, everything kind of, makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate at Wickery to have an incredible project management team that actually works to collect data from all the different programs and services. So we actually can just reach out to them for impact stats, which is like really, really great. But yeah, I would say in terms of the process, we do look at like look at the data and like what are the impact stats, which are the most like would be, I think, most meaningful for our audience that we're trying to reach, or just showcase the most like the incredible work that we've done.
Yeah, and okay, so we were talking about the challenges, but what's the most exciting thing when it comes to creating the annual report? Like, what gets you guys excited over there?
I think what really gets us excited about the annual report is that this is truly a showcase of all the incredible work that we've done this past year. And I would say it's also an opportunity, especially doing it in this digital format, opportunity to be, from a cost perspective, really creative and innovative and try new things. So I think that's what kind of makes this process of creating the annual report this way really fun.
So from my perspective, working with you guys for the last couple of years, what gets me excited about, doing the next one is, the first one was kind of, the blue theme. And then, the second year was the Unmet campaign, which is, very like campaign specific, and we're integrating the yellows. So I like, from a marketing standpoint, what gets me excited is the ability to kind of like push the boundaries and go like a little bit more like, campaign based, or a little bit off like your traditional brand, and being able to kind of push the boundaries, whether it's through colors, images, interactivity. So I think it's like a nice kind of, like, to me, it's like the powder room of the house, right? You can kind of like go a little bit more out there, and it's a little bit more isolated. You can do something crazy on the walls and the tile, and it generates some interest and some conversation pieces without worrying too much about, okay, what's going on in the rest of the house.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree totally that it really is an opportunity to kind of, test some new things and be innovative, creative. And I really like, for everyone out there, if you haven't seen our annual report, that they're really like kind of like the magazine look and feel that was created with the annual report. We really, really liked that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we come up with this year.
Nice. And you can use that, by the way, the powder room of the annual report is the powder room of the house. And so what I'm doing at the end of every chat is I'm basically sending ChatGPT some prompts to ask a question, and then I'm going to ask the question, because ChatGPT, our overlord, cannot obviously speak to us, and then we'll see what you can come out with. So I gave it some prompts about you and Wood Green, and the first question was super boring, so I said let's try again with something else. And so ChatGPT is asking, how do you keep your annual reports engaging and informative for both investors and the general public?
Thank you, ChatGPT. I think, as already mentioned, I think we really try to have a variety of information on the annual reports. We try to have impact stats and testimonials, as well as updates from the different program areas, and then also impact stories as well, and video. So we try to have different kinds of content in the annual report. And as I already mentioned earlier, but one of the really nice things about having a digital annual report is that we do have a menu at the top, so people can go through to areas that are of interest to them. So, for example, if a potential funder was interested in our financials, they could just go skip right down to that section. Or if someone in the community was really interested in what we're doing in housing, they could also just skip down to that section as well.
No, great. Well, thanks, Jen. It was great having you. And once we, go through another, iteration or two, maybe we'll have you back and we can talk more about, the process and how things change and evolve. And I look forward to seeing the next version.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And anyone out there is interested in seeing our annual reports, you can just visit our website at woodgreen.org.